Thank you. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to officially open the December 16th Albany Port District Commission meeting. First, as many of you know, the unfortunate passing of Leo Dean, a longtime commission member, this past weekend. The wake is this evening and the funeral is tomorrow morning. But Leo served well on this board, providing a lot of insight as well as serving this country, and he was a valued member of this board. So with that, I guess I'd like to take a moment of silence in remembrance of Leo. Thank you. So a couple other things I just wanted to recognize. One is thank Reverend Temple for his Christmas at Sea program, and for all the folks who have participated in that. I know several of the port tenants participated as well as staff.
Yeah, it was really overwhelming. Very good. So I just dropped some more over across the river.
That's great. So for those of you who don't know, this is a program where shoe boxes are filled with Christmas gifts and supplies given to the men that are on the ships that come through during Christmas time as a way to support them and as they're far away from family and home. So, yes, I'm signing in women. Yes, we do have women at sea. So thank you. Thank you very much for that, Reverend Heppel, and your services there. Exciting news, as many are also aware, the Capital Region Economic Development Council, while not one of the Upstate Revitalization Initiative winners, we were the top performer for this year's Regional Economic Development Council Consolidated Funding Application Grant. And so we received $98.1 million for the region, which is really exciting. It was the highest of the non-URI award winners, and so that's really exciting. And the port was the second largest winner there, with $4 million to go for a warehouse and other improvements here at the port. I'm sure Rich will talk a little bit more about that in his report. General Manager's report. But, you know, it's really exciting to see that the port continues to be a leader in this region for economic development, for job creation and growth, and that the state is recognizing that. I don't know if you had a chance to actually see the booklet, but between the presentation that he made talking about the Capital Region, as well as the program booklet that listed all of the projects, the port's picture was front and in the forefront, and so we're really excited, and a lot of that is due to the staff and the team and Rich's leadership there that is really elevating the port's recognition in the region. So thank you, and again, I'm sure Rich will talk a little more about what that money is going to be used for later.
It's a good job writing the application package too, by the way, so well done.
Thanks, Megan. So other good news, we have a new commission member, Noelle Kinch. So Noelle, if you wanted to introduce yourself and tell the members a little bit about you, and then we'll go around the room and introduce them.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. First official meeting. I'm happy to be here. I am the Deputy General Counsel for a company called Iberdrola USA, which is an energy holding company. They own electric and gas regulated businesses. So my day-to-day is in primarily before the Public Service Commission and a very regulated industry. So I think that will serve me well as a board member. I am also the president of National Little League in Albany, just starting in October. I have two young children, ages 7 and 9, and married to Jerry Shonhar, who is currently the Albany Treasurer.
Well, welcome aboard. We're thrilled to have you and the expertise that you'll be bringing to the board. So thank you so much. Joe, if you want to go around the room.
Joe Coffey, Treasurer.
John Bogaro, Commissioner.
Eric Smith, Director of Internal Controls and Enterprise Analysis.
Bill Hempel, Albany Maritime.
Tom McGinnis, IT.
Annette Gasperry, Albany Port.
Megan Daly, Director of Economic Development and Procurement.
John Kosa, Director of Operations and Facilities. Tony Vassell, Business Development and Marketing Manager.
Terry Hurley, Chief Financial Officer.
Tom Owens, Counsel. Richard Hendrick, General Manager.
Okay, so with that, we'll get into the bulk of our meeting. You all have before you a copy of the minutes from our last meeting. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second, are there any discussion, any edits or changes? With no discussion, I'll accept call for a vote to approve the minutes.
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much. John, do you want to give an update on the audit committee meeting?
Well, had the meeting, you heard from, Bill Kahn from UHY. He'll be starting his audit, I believe, February. Nothing on executive session, nothing, we reviewed the committee charter, everything was okay there, and that was about the extent of the meeting.
That's great. So we'll have a report back on the final audit for the February board meeting. Great. Thank you. So in your packet is the appointment of the members of the various committees of the court. And so we did talk about adding Noelle as the governance committee chair. She has agreed to serve there, and with her legal background, we think that will be an addition there for the committee. We also then will be adding Noelle as a member of both the finance and the audit committee. So if there are no other questions or edits or concerns on that list, I'll accept a motion before you have Resolution 21-2015, whereas the Port Commission Charter establishes that the Port Chairperson designates the chair and members of the committees annually, and the committee membership for 2016 was discussed and finalized at today's meeting. And we acknowledge the membership of the committees as detailed on the back list. So with, yeah?
Excuse me, could I make one suggested change
Sure.
to this, that we would need for the executive committee to name a secretary today with the passing of Leo. Currently, Dominic is the assistant secretary. With that position will be open. It will be reaffirmed next month, but at the present time, we may need to fill that.
So do you want to do that at today's meeting?
Yeah, I would suggest we do it. It's just another person that can sign the resolution. So occasionally, you need one that you have to get the DOT and accept money or something. So it's good to have two people. Dominic can certainly do it today, but it's always good. We have a treasurer, we have, our bylaws.
Sure.
It's an officer, so we should.
So then do we,
I think we can just solicit any interest, if there is such, and then
or promote
vote on it.
Dominic?
And if there wants to be a runoff, we can do that. But, traditionally, it's not been something that's garnered an awful lot of interest,
Yeah.
but I would hope maybe somebody would
So can
do
you
it.
discuss, so the secretary, what the...
Yeah, the basics is that you're the one who will certify the resolutions at the conclusion of each meeting, or, if they're modified after the staff modifies them for the board. And often that is presented to outside agencies to accept either grant funds from the feds or from the state agencies that we do work with. So that's the basics of it. You would certify basically any documents that the commission has to provide to outside agencies. That's really what it involves.
Dominic, would you be interested in being promoted?
Whatever.
Yes.
Still works.
Still works as much as it is now.
So if Dominic moves to secretary, then we just need an assistant secretary that would fill in while, if Dominic were not at a meeting, we could sign, or was unavailable to sign documents.
Right.
So that would leave Noelle or John.
Great.
Noelle will be the assistant. Okay, thank you.
Two whatevers. We got it.
Two whatevers. All right, so Dominic as secretary and Noelle as assistant. secretary. So will we officially
So-
vote on that at the next board meeting? Is that how you, or
Yeah,
do you
we're
want a
Dominic
separate
here today, so
resolution?
what we'll do is we'll prepare a resolution for the next board meeting and we'll knock it out right
We'll
then.
set the officers for 2016.
Okay.
Yep. Great.
Okay, at the next meeting.
Yep.
That sounds great. Okay, so I'll take a motion to accept the committees, as listed with the, to be determined to be replaced by Noel.
So moved.
All in favor? Great, thank you. Okay, so also, in your packet, we have a list of the proposed, meeting dates for next year. This was something that we had discussed and made a few minor changes, at the November board meeting. So we don't need to vote on these are just information and it should be calendar. Okay, great. Okay, so who wants to cover the board strategic planning retreat? I mean, I think, you all are aware that, over the last 2 years, we've seen a significant influx in, funding. The staff has been having some serious conversations, whether it be with current port tenants, potential port tenants, and expansion. And so there's a need for us to really, especially now as we have all the new members on board, to sit down and really strategize where that growth is going to take place, what direction we want to be looking forward at.
I would like to propose if you could check your calendars that we would have an off-site strategy meeting for the commissioners' workshop on Wednesday, February 10th. That would give us, I'm sorry? Oh, okay. Well, how about the 3rd?
Good exercise.
So what is it, January 3rd? No, he's saying February 3rd. Oh, February 3rd.
Wednesday, February 3rd?
Is that a possibility?
Yeah, in the morning or?
Yeah, we would do it in the morning. It would probably take up the morning. The last time we did it, it was a pretty much a full day event, but I think we could shrink it down and do everything in a 3.5 hour block in the morning. I'm sorry, what's
The
that?
Renaissance is a really great board.
I'll once we get the date, I'll start searching for a location in downtown and we can hold it.
What time you talking about starting?
Probably 8:30 to noon. There we could have coffee and start right away.
That sounds great. Okay, so we will pencil that in and wait for specifics.
Perfect.
Great. So also in your packet, we have a sponsorship request for the Capital Region Chamber Dinner. Is this our 3rd year? Would be our 3rd year, 4th year?
4 or 5.
So this is something that we have done in the past. I know that we have talked really about making sure that our sponsorships match our mission. And this event is attended by over 1,000 people, and it gives us great visibility to the region and potential users of the port or tenants in the future. So the sponsorship is for $2,600, and it's for a table at the event. It's also a great opportunity for staff and board members to network. So does anyone have any questions about the chamber dinner? Okay, so with that, before you is a resolution that authorizes the Albany Commission sponsorship of the event, of the chamber event at a preferred table level, the cost not to exceed $2,600, and authorizes the general manager to execute. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And with that, I will turn it over to Rich.
Thank you. As Georgette had mentioned, we were successful in the CFA. We're very happy with the amount we received. I've had contact with our assembly people as well as our lobbyist. We plan to meet with GE. The emphasis on the $4 million we got was to build a structure for storing the generators that they're planning in the future. Before we move forward with any engineering or anything on that, we're going to meet with GE and get their actual commitment to the Port of Albany. We're still hearing that they're fluttering with everything. We're not going to invest another $4 million until we solidified where we're going with that. With this $4 million, since 2008 now, the port has received almost $45 million in infrastructure grants for the work and improvements that we've made here. We plan to keep that moving in the northern direction. We are still planning for the next couple rounds of the CFAs. The not getting the $100 million was a bump in the road. We're not slowing down. We still have talks going. In the plan we had proposals to move 3 different ways in expansion. We still plan to continue down that road and afford us more opportunities to serve more business entities in the region. This coming Monday, we have a meeting with Moffitt Nickel, the firm that was chosen to engineer the new dock structure as part of the $15 million that we got from the state in the 15 budget. We finally received the approval of DOT in November to move ahead. We're having a kickoff meeting on Monday with Moffitt to start that work. We're hoping that 6 months will be a time frame where they have plans that are ready to go to the bid process. It'll be publicly bid once the structure that is proposed is approved by DOT and the port. It'll go out to bid, and I'd love to see construction start in the third quarter of 2016. We fell behind with this. I was really hoping that we would have had contractors on the dock now, but the process dragged a little bit through 2015.
We'll have to look at our schedule pretty quickly because there's permitting involved with this, isn't there? With the project?
There'll be some. The one permit that will be required is the Joint DEC Army Corps for the wharf side, for the water, in-water work. And that traditionally has not been hard for us.
Okay.
We have a current permit now that is they've continued it in effect. What we've heard from them most recently is that because it's been 5 or 6 years now since we did our last fish and wildlife study, which sustains the permit review process, that we've engaged Ingalls to do that. So we're going to do a new study, update it, but it should be fun. Yeah. So and that's part of the A&E process, is that permit. Yeah.
And so we won't have the same problems that we had before about when the...
Well, we'll still have problems. The
coming.
window is what it is.
Yeah, the window
The permit only allows you to do the work during certain discrete windows, and then what we had to do last time was get their permission to sort of waive the window. And if we get in that situation where we're trying to move the window either right or left, that's not easy. Yeah.
Most of the work that's going to be done, the construction work on the dock, though, is not done from what they call in-stream.
Right.
It's all done from the land side, so we have a permit in place. Like the permit stipulates that there will be no work done in stream when there's ice. construction companies are still working on the dock, it's just they're not disturbing the ice. So it's pretty flexible for the contractors to be able to continue the work. Be nice if we had another winter like this next year, but but at least, yes, we're meeting with them on Monday. We will start the process of obtaining all of the necessary permits and get moving on that construction. Sims property at 700 Smith Boulevard. We are meeting with, we've had meetings as early as Monday of this week with our attorneys that are working with Tom on that case. We plan to meet again either next week or the following week to try and get the process moving. DEC has approved the work plan. We just need to solidify a couple other aspects of it. Because of the fact that there were PCBs there and they were above a minimum level, we're looking at the EPA to also be involved in this so that a future tenant will have full occupancy of the property. You know, we don't want to have a tenant come in and find out that they can use it 20 hours a week. We need full occupancy. So we'll work towards getting that sign off. And then moving forth with the plan that has been put forth and accepted and hopefully get that going in the very near future. Last, on a somewhat happy and sad note, today is Tom Owen's last board meeting with us. He has been offered a position which is affording him great opportunities. It's kind of bittersweet, but he has moved us from the dark ages to where we've had $45 million since he started. I can't thank him enough for both his friendship and professional services here at the port.
Congratulations.
I'll miss everything here and everybody.
Congratulations.
So it's been a great experience. I learned a lot, most of it through mistakes. But you couldn't have a better place to work. And yeah, the place since I've come is, I think we've sort of, our brand, as we like to say, is now a lot more credible than it was. And I was a small part of that. Everybody around the table was played an equal role. And we're now a good, you know, we're now a very credible recipient for a lot of infrastructure improvements, whereas before that was a real challenge for us. So, yeah,
We're not
thank you very much.
panicked
Thank you.
now that you're leaving. If you had a couple years
Oh, you're
ago,
going to
I
get
might
some
be
very
panicked.
good, everybody's replaceable, and you're going to get some very good candidates, I know, because I've been talking to folks too that are interested.
Good.
So I think you're going to get great folks to consider.
I've put together a panel of 3 very respected attorneys, Tom, Judge Teresi, and Don Kinsella. Donnie's a former U.S. attorney. They are going to receive, I'll receive the applications that we have. They will vet the applications for us, make a recommendation of who to interview, and then we'll do an interview process. Hopefully by the February board meeting, we'll be able to make a choice on a very respectable candidate. The position is advertised in the New York State Bar Association. It'll be going out, I believe, this week in the Albany County Bar Association newsletter, and it's also posted on the Albany Law School website for positions. So I think we've put it out there to a wide area where we're going to receive some applications from very qualified people. Thank you.
Well, so we know where you live, Tom, so you can't come up easily, but.
Rich, I had a question on the, and Megan, on the CFA, the 4 million, was that ESD funds? Is there a sunset where the funds have to be used by a certain time?
There can be, but that's usually structured in your contract with them.
What's our expectation?
My expectation, but not for sure, would be 2018.
Yeah, pretty
And we're unsure of what the match or obligation is, right?
Well, typically, but this isn't a typical recipient, or in terms of the amount. Typically, the ESD grant is 20% of the overall project. We asked for more, and we were granted more. So we have a meeting set up with Empire State Development staff to talk about what the actual project cost would be and what the match requirement would be. If you can show justification for that, you can get that allowance, and I think that's what the project cost will be. So I think the match would be in the ballpark of $2 million. We also, as a side note, we had economic development staff from the state have hired a marketing firm that sent photographers down here a week ago, and there was a ship at the wharf to take some pictures and have a drone here for a business commercial that they're doing. So at some point in the next, I think, month or two, there'll be a commercial out there that we'll see that includes the port.
The $50 million that are proposed as supplemental funding for the region in the governor's budget, will that pool of dollars be awarded to projects that are already in the CFA 515, do you know?
I don't know that that's for sure, that that's set in stone, but my expectation would be that the regional councils that get awarded that would have some level of
Discretion.
Yeah, and I would think that they would. I mean, the governor announced it as a way to plan, and that URI strategic plan identified some of the biggest initiatives. I would think the regional council would back those. Yeah.
Any other questions for Rich? All right, so now we'll turn it over. I know, talking to Bill, we've had several surprise ships, or ones we weren't initially expecting.
And hopefully they continue to be good surprises.
Right, so hopefully it has picked up our year end here.
If you would, well, thank you, Chair. If you would, please turn to your packets, and it's the last item in your packet, the pie charts on the top right, and the bar graphs down in bottom right also. Now, the first 4 pages, just going to cover very briefly, because this is a general look, or, well, an in-depth look at our various market sectors. And it compares in a number of ways, comparing November 14 versus November 15, also comparing year-to-date, January, November 14 versus 15. Also, we have some 5-year averages in the overall computations. And last, the items are ships and barges, tonnage on a monthly basis. The third page is tonnage year-to-date, and the fourth page are longshore hours. And as I mentioned, that's more like an in-depth look. And if you would turn to the last page, the comparative analysis, the tricolor form, and the green representing the banner year of last year, then the blue, we're comparing some averages, and in the black, we're taking a look at longshore hours worked. In the first section, as you mentioned, Chairperson Stephens, we had a good November. 11 vessels in the green, ships and barges, 14.8. In 2015, we had 11, up 3, or 38%. Our tonnage was up around 26%. Longshore hours were down substantially, about 54%. But that was due primarily to the fact that the open crate inspection program that we had running for General Electric is closed down. That's whereby
Product would be sent in. The longshoreman would open the crates, check the packing list, make sure everything was there, so when it got to job site overseas, there weren't any possibility of liquidated damages or the possibility they had to fly something over versus already having it there. So that's comparing the month. Now, if you slide down, November year-to-date is mentioned numerous times. We had a banner year last year. 83 vessels versus 62, down 21. Good year last year in grain, good year last year in scrap. But it's not a but, it's a positive. General Electric Schenectady had the largest order they have ever had since their inception in 1921. That was the Algerian electrification project. And as mentioned, once again, projects like this don't occur often. Last one was 95, 96, 2 years back-to-back, 16 vessels each. That was Foster Wheeler Energy, Clinton, New Jersey, going to Taiwan for a Taiwan electric project over there. So those are hard to beat, hard projects like that. Now, if you would please shift down to the blue section, what we're doing is taking out 2014, our banner year, and taking a look at the 5 years, 2009 versus 2009 through 2013. And you see the 5-year average is 4.6, and we're at 11. So we're up for the month, 139%, up on tonnage, 205%. Now, if you shift down further to take a look at we're comparing year-to-date, January through November, the 5-year average, 42.2 versus 62, we're up about 20 and 47%, and the tonnage is up around 60,000. So last year was a banner year. This year was a very good year.
Yeah, 25% down from a banner year isn't too shabby.
And lastly, we're comparing 3 years for the longshore comparisons, 11, 12, and 13, taking out 14, the banner year, and this year. For the month, we're up 27%, or 800 hours. Now, the 3-year average was 35,800. We're at 55,002 something, up around 54%. So overall, once again, everybody's done a good job to keep this going.
The important thing on the longshore hours is that each member of that longshoremen's union that works 800 hours achieves their medical insurance. So it's a good barometer for the court as to how everybody's doing. If we have that many people working. And I can tell you that December is going to be a very good year when you get the report, or a very good month when you see the report. We have 3 more ships coming, and one of them's at calcium chloride, which is manpower intensive. So we're going to finish this year very good.
Right. Is there any other business? Any questions? Do we need to go into executive session?
Yeah, just quickly, yeah.
Okay, so we would go into, we would need a motion to go into executive session for potential litigation.
We have a first and a second. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Pat?
Okay, so with that, I just would like to announce our next meeting. The Governance Committee will be meeting at 11:30 on Wednesday, January 27th, and then our board meeting will follow that at 12:30 on Wednesday, January 27th. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.